Inside these walls, a complex alchemy of engineering and agriculture runs continuously, turning raw beans into the world's favorite confection. Every day begins with the arrival of the raw ingredients, sourced from the equatorial belt and shipped thousands of miles to this dock.
Logistical precision is paramount. Millions of pounds of cocoa must be offloaded and cataloged before processing can even begin.
This inventory is carefully managed by climate control systems to prevent spoilage, maintaining the beans at exact humidity levels. The journey begins at the intake hopper, where the beans are liberated from their sacks and fed into the facility's circulatory system. Bucket elevators transport the raw material to the top floor, allowing gravity to assist in the subsequent cleaning and roasting stages.
Before roasting can occur, the beans must be rigorously cleaned, shaken, and aspirated to remove any field debris or stones.
Before the transformation begins, raw ingredients wait in these massive reserves, capable of holding 50 tons of cocoa at a time.
Miles of piping deliver the steam and pressure required to manipulate the complex chemistry of chocolate. Hygiene is the first priority, as engineers and operators prepare to enter the sterile production zone.
From this nerve center, technicians monitor every variable, ensuring consistency across millions of bars.
Supervisors conduct final visual inspections, walking the line to verify the readiness of the heavy machinery. Despite the automation, the human eye and touch remain the ultimate judge of raw cocoa quality. With a single command, the facility roars to life, consuming megawatts of power to begin the process.
The journey starts at the cleaning station, where vibration and airflow separate the cocoa from field debris.
The roasted beans enter the winnowing machine, where a precise impact cracks the shell without damaging the nib inside.
Using high-velocity air currents, the lighter shells are blown away, leaving only the pure cocoa nibs behind.
These nibs are the essence of chocolate, containing roughly 50% cocoa butter and 50% cocoa solids.
Inside the mill, heavy steel discs crush the nibs, using heat and friction to release the cocoa butter locked inside. The result is cocoa liquor, a thick, bitter liquid that forms the base of every chocolate bar. Heated pipes transport the liquor across the factory, ensuring it never solidifies before reaching the mixing tanks.
Here, the bitter liquor is combined with sugar and condensed milk to create the sweet flavor profile we recognize.
The mixer works the ingredients into a thick, sandy paste, preparing it for the refining process that will give it a silky texture. The winnowing machine uses air currents to separate the light shells from the heavier nibs, ensuring only the pure cocoa meat moves forward.
Now stripped of their husks, the nibs are transported to the grinding mills, where the transformation into liquid begins.
Friction and heat melt the cocoa butter within the nibs, creating a thick, rich paste called cocoa liquor. To create milk chocolate, the liquor is combined with condensed milk, sugar, and additional cocoa butter in precise ratios. Steel rollers crush the mixture into a fine powder, reducing particle size until the texture is perfectly smooth to the tongue. The powder enters the conche, a machine that kneads and aerates the chocolate for hours to develop its final flavor profile. During conching, the constant motion and heat drive off acidity and coat every particle in cocoa butter for a velvety texture. Once the flavor is perfected, the liquid chocolate is pumped through heated pipes to the tempering units. To achieve the signature smoothness, the paste is forced through a gauntlet of 5-roll refiners, crushing particles to less than 20 microns. Now reduced to a dry powder, the cocoa solids appear brittle, awaiting the reintroduction of fat to become a liquid once more. The powder enters the conch, a massive vessel designed to knead and polish the flavor profile over several hours. Through friction and heat, the conchi drives off volatile acids and harsh vinegar notes, mellowing the chocolate's character. Extra cocoa butter is injected, restoring the fat content and giving the chocolate its signature melt-in-the-mouth quality. After hours of conching, the mixture transforms into a silky, homogeneous liquid, ready for the final chemical adjustments.
A tiny amount of lecithin is added to reduce surface tension,
allowing the thick chocolate to flow freely through the pipes.
Pumped through heated pipes, the liquid chocolate heads to storage tanks, maintained at a constant temperature to prevent premature crystallization. Inside the mega mixer, the ingredients meet for the first time, beginning a transformation driven by heat and sheer kinetic energy. To achieve the perfect texture, the mix is pulverized between steel rollers until the particles are smaller than a human hair. This is conching, a process of intense aeration and heating that can last for hours or even days to develop flavor.
Extra cocoa butter and emulsifiers are injected to ensure the chocolate flows perfectly through the molding lines.
Even with advanced automation, human experts must verify the viscosity before the chocolate moves to the tempering phase.
Tempering is the most critical step, aligning the crystals to ensure the chocolate snaps when broken and shines on the shelf.
The depositor fills hundreds of molds per minute, dosing the exact gram weight into every single cavity.
Vibration tables shake out every last bubble of air, ensuring the chocolate captures every detail of the mold.
At this stage, switch components go up.
To the touch, the mixture is rough and sandy, far from the silky texture consumers expect.
The paste is fed into the refiner, where a series of steel rollers crush the particles under immense hydraulic pressure.
These rollers reduce the particle size from 100 microns down to less than 20, smaller than the human tongue can detect.
The result is not liquid chocolate, but a fine, dry powder known as flake, ready for the most critical step of all.
This powder is transferred to the conche, where heat, motion, and time will unlock the full potential of the flavor.
Inside the conche, heavy rollers knead the mixture for hours, sometimes days, aerating the chocolate and evaporating bitter acids.
The result is a silky, homogeneous liquid with a rounded, complex flavor profile, ready to be tempered and shaped.
Before it can be molded, the chocolate must be tempered, a precise thermal cycle that aligns the cocoa butter crystals into a stable lattice.
Sensors measure the viscosity in real time, ensuring the liquid flows with the exact resistance needed to fill the molds without air pockets.
Volumetric depositors inject the mass into preheated molds, hitting a target weight with a margin of error less than 0.1 grams. Vibrating tables shake the molds at high frequency, forcing trapped air bubbles to the surface and ensuring a flawless finish. This single line processes over 5,000 molds per hour, a relentless river of cocoa moving toward the cooling phase. The mouths enter a multi-zone cooling tunnel, where the temperature drops gradually to solidify the bars without shocking the cocoa butter.
As the chocolate hardens, it contracts slightly, pulling away from the sides of the mold, a critical physical reaction for the next step.
Pneumatic hammers tap the inverted molds, releasing the solidified bars onto the packing line with mechanical precision. Inside the tempering column, the chocolate is cooled and reheated with surgical precision to align the cocoa butter crystals.
The depositors fill hundreds of molds per minute, ensuring every single bar meets the exact weight requirements.
Vigorous shaking forces air bubbles out and settles the chocolate into every detail of the mold. For variety, crushed hazelnuts are showered onto the wet chocolate before it sets.
The bars enter the cooling tunnel, a massive refrigerator that stretches for over 50 meters.
A precise hammer tap releases the solid bars, which are now hard, glossy, and ready for wrapping. Laser scanners check every millimeter of the surface, rejecting any bar that isn't absolutely perfect.
Storage. Before molding can begin, the molecular structure must be perfect. Through a process called tempering,
High-speed depositors fill the molds with gram-perfect precision. At this stage, the chocolate is still 30 degrees Celsius.
Vibration tables shake the molds violently for several seconds. This forces air bubbles out and ensures the chocolate settles into every crevice of the mold's detailed etching.
Attention.
For our nut varieties, a precise dosing system adds roasted hazelnuts while the chocolate is still fluid.
A final curtain of chocolate seals the ingredients inside. An air knife blows off the excess, ensuring
The liquid bars now enter the massive cooling tunnel, spanning over 100 meters.
Inside the tunnel, the temperature drops in controlled stages. As the cocoa butter crystallizes, the chocolate
Emerging from the cold, the bars are now solid and crisp. A quick quality check ensures the temper holds true before the high-speed demolding begins.
At the depositor station, volumetric pistons ensure that every single mold receives an identical dose of tempered chocolate, accurate to within 1/10 of a gram. Vibration plates agitate the liquid mass, forcing trapped air bubbles to the surface and ensuring the chocolate fills every microscopic detail of the mold.
The bars enter a multi-zone cooling tunnel, where fans circulate chilled air to carefully crystallize the cocoa butter into its stable beta-5 form.
Controlled cooling causes the chocolate to shrink by just 2%, pulling away from the mold walls and preparing it for release.
At the tunnel exit, torsion bars twist the molds, while pneumatic hammers knock the solid bars loose, sending them onto the packaging line. Optical scanners and laser profilometers inspect every inch of surface area, instantly rejecting any bar with cracks or aesthetic defects.
Before wrapping, the bars pass through a sensitive metal detector, capable of identifying foreign particles as small as 1 millimeter.
Servo-driven gates distribute the single stream of product into multiple lanes, balancing the load for the high-speed wrapping machines ahead. To remove unwanted air bubbles, the molds cross a vibrating table that shakes the liquid chocolate into every corner of the form.
The bars enter the cooling tunnel, a 100-meter journey where controlled airflow carefully lowers the temperature.
Inside, the cocoa butter crystallizes, causing the chocolate to shrink slightly, a vital step for effortless demolding later.
Emerging from the cold, the bars are now solid, glossy, and contracted enough to fall freely from their molds. Pneumatic hammers deliver a precise tap, releasing thousands of bars per hour onto the main conveyor.
Quality control is rigorous, with X-ray scanners checking every millimeter of the product for imperfections or contaminants.
Smart conveyors align the fleet of chocolate bars, spacing them perfectly for the high-speed wrapping machines ahead.
Volumetric depositors inject the tempered mass with surgical precision, filling the molds to within a fraction of a gram. High-frequency vibration tables shake the molds to release trapped air bubbles, ensuring the chocolate fills every microscopic detail of the die.
The molds enter the cooling tunnel, a multi-zone thermal chamber designed to solidify the cocoa butter into stable crystals.
Inside, controlled convection pulls heat from the bars, causing the chocolate to contract slightly away from the mold walls.
Mechanical hammers tap the inverted trays, and thanks to the cooling contraction, the bars release effortlessly.
Every bar passes through X-ray scanners and checkweighers, ensuring safety and uniformity before packaging.
Automated buffer systems organize the chaotic flow, aligning thousands of bars into single-file lanes for the wrappers.
Flow wrappers envelop each bar in foil at lightning speed, sealing in freshness with a cold seal adhesive.
At these speeds, the wrapping machines handle over 1,000 bars per minute, sealing in freshness before the chocolate is even touched by human hands.
Delta robots sort the output into retail-ready boxes, their vision systems verifying the count of every package. Once boxed, the product is palletized and shrink-wrapped, transforming delicate confections into durable freight ready for transport.
Automated guided vehicles ferry the finished pallets to the warehouse, navigating the factory floor with laser precision.
In the temperature-controlled high bay, thousands of tons of chocolate await distribution, stored in a massive vertical grid.
Every day, a fleet of trucks lines up at the dispatch bays, ready to carry the factory's output to retailers across the continent. From the loading dock, the chocolate begins its final journey, traveling hundreds of miles to reach store shelves.
As the sun sets, the factory continues its rhythm, a 24-hour cycle dedicated to satisfying the world's sweet tooth.
Once packaged, the chocolate enters a fully automated logistics center,
where human intervention is minimal.
Every shipment is tracked in real time to ensure the cold chain remains unbroken during transport.
Dozens of trucks are loaded simultaneously, maintaining a precise schedule to prevent inventory bottlenecks.
Security seals are applied to guarantee product integrity until the chocolate reaches the retailer. As night falls, the fleet departs, distributing millions of bars to stores across the continent. But the factory never truly sleeps. The night shift arrives to begin the cycle all over again.
Strict sanitation protocols during the changeover ensure the next batch is just as perfect as the last.
And that's how millions of chocolate bars are made every day, from raw material to the final product.